Bolyán Anita, The Genetic Etymology of Polak, Tracing the Neolithic Spread, and Trojan War, 2026. The explanation of the fact that the Finnish Kalevala is about the Trojan War, 9-8th century, by Homer, is that the Neolithic revolution was carried and spread by those farmers who originated from the Greek, Hittite region and invented a new kind of lifestyle by adopting to the warm-up period. By moving and/or trading the northern areas of Europe, they took the story of their ancestors with them, the Trojan War which happened in the Fertile Crescent. Abstract. This scientific paper proposes a novel interpretation of the Polak and Lengyel etymologies, positing that these terms do not merely describe geographical features but encapsulate the profound demographic and cultural shifts brought about by the Neolithic Revolution. We hypothesize that Polak refers to a specific group of early farmers originating from the Caucasus and Anatolia, bearing distinct genetic markers. Their northward migration, driven by post-Ice Age warming and the colorful theory, Bolyán, 2019, of agricultural adaptation, fundamentally altered European demographics. This theory suggests that terms like Polak, from pole, field, and Lengyel, from leda, cleared land, are linguistic remnants of the triumph of settled agricultural life over the receding hunter-gatherer cultures characterized by bear cults. The Finnish term Pohjola, lowland, deep place, north, is reinterpreted here as an early ethnonym for these agriculturalists, distinct from the forest-dwelling hunter-gatherers. The narrative extends to the Balkans and even the Trojan War, reframing these as conflicts between emerging agricultural societies and established, fortified hunter-gatherer strongholds. The flourishing of metalworking, mass production, and trade in agricultural societies, particularly amber trade, facilitated their dominance and cultural exchange with the Aegean, informing them of conflicts like the Trojan War, which is then presented as an early victory for the expanding agricultural peoples. Evidence for Caucasian hunter-gatherer, CHG, genetic signatures in Central and Northern Europe will be crucial to validating this hypothesis. 1. The genetic etymology of Polak, tracing the Neolithic echoes. The ice retreated, a slow, geological sigh that reshaped continents and cultures. For millennia, Europe had been the domain of the hunter, the nomad, their lives intimately intertwined with the rhythm of the chase and the vast, cold forests. The bear cult, a veneration of the most powerful denizen of these northern wildlands, dominated their spiritual world. But change was afoot, carried not by glaciers, but by a quieter, more profound revolution. From the fertile crescent of Anatolia and the rugged peaks of the Caucasus, a new way of life began to spread, agriculture. It was more than just planting seeds, it was a paradigm shift, a commitment to the land, to settlement, to an entirely different relationship with the natural world. This was the colorful theory in action, where environmental change, the inexorable warming of post-glacial Europe, necessitated a fundamental adaptation in human subsistence strategies. As the boreal forests retreated and temperate grasslands expanded, the wild game, once plentiful, became less predictable, while new opportunities for cultivation emerged. The progenitors of this revolution, groups of farmers from the Caucasus and Anatolia, began their slow, steady migrations northward. These were not mere wanderers, they carried with them not only seeds and livestock but also a distinct genetic legacy. Archaeological and genetic evidence, particularly the increasing prevalence of Caucasian hunter-gatherer, CHG, admixture in Central and Northern European ancient DNA profiles from the Neolithic onwards, provides tantalizing hints of their journey. These farmers, with their advanced knowledge of plant cultivation and animal husbandry, were destined to reshape the continent. 2. Polish, farmers, not hunters. We propose that the very names associated with the Polish people, Polak and Lędzile, are not arbitrary linguistic constructs but echoes of this profound transformation. Polak derived from the Proto-Slavic Pole, meaning field or plain, directly references the agrarian landscape these new settlers cultivated. It was a stark contrast to the dense, primeval forests of the hunter-gatherers. Similarly, the Hungarian Lędzile, stemming from the Proto-Slavic Leda, meaning cleared land or fallow land, speaks to the arduous process of transforming wilderness into arable fields. These names, therefore, served as identity markers, distinguishing the people of the fields from the people of the forests. Consider the Finnish Pohjola. While traditionally interpreted as the north or the deep within this framework, it gains a new resonance. Pohja can also signify bottom or lowland. Could Pohjola have originally referred to the lowland as the settlers of the fertile plains, distinct from the inhabitants of the highlands or dense forests? This would position Pohjola not just as a geographical descriptor but as an early ethnonym for the pioneering agriculturalists pushing into northern territories, bringing their lowland farming techniques to areas previously dominated by hunting. The spread of these farming communities was not always peaceful. The Balkans, in particular, reveal archaeological layers rife with evidence of conflict between fortified settlements and migrating groups. This wasn't merely tribal warfare, it was, in essence, a clash of civilizations, the burgeoning, expanding agriculturalists against the established, often more isolated, hunter-gatherer strongholds. Even the epic of the Kalevala, from a distance, might be reinterpreted through this lens. The conflicts between the people of Kalevala, often associated with the southern, more settled regions of Finland, and the inhabitants of Pohjola could, in this light, represent the friction between early agricultural communities and more traditional, perhaps hunter-gatherer, groups who resented the encroachment on their lands. 3. Settled farmers, mass industrial productions, even arms. Cause of success. By the 8th millennium BCE, as the warming trend solidified its grip on the northern European plains, the shift gained unstoppable momentum. The settled agricultural lifestyle fostered population growth unprecedented in hunter-gatherer societies. This demographic boom had a ripple effect, catalyzing the development of specialized crafts. Where once a solitary, revered smith might have crafted tools for a local chieftain, now burgeoning agricultural communities could support large-scale metal production. The utilitarian demands of farming plows, scythes, axes drove innovation and scale. The surplus food generated by agriculture allowed for the specialization of labor, giving rise to artisans, traders, and eventually, organized armies. This burgeoning industrial capacity of the agriculturalists, alongside their numerical superiority, rendered the old hunter-warrior societies increasingly vulnerable. Their numbers were limited, their subsistence strategies less adaptable to the changing flora and fauna, and their organizational structures less complex. The Trojan War, dated to around 8th century BCE, often seen as a conflict between Mycenaean Greeks and the Trojans, takes on a new significance here. Could it, in part, be understood as a pivotal conflict where emerging, protopolis-like agricultural societies, already proficient in bronze, and moving towards iron, as evidenced by Black Sea archaeological finds of early iron implements alongside bronze, confronted and ultimately overcame a fortified, older world stronghold. Troy, with its strategic location and potential links to older, perhaps less agriculturally focused, regional powers, represented a significant barrier to the expanding influence of these new, settled peoples. The Polacks, with their extensive trade networks, particularly the amber routes connecting the Baltic to the Mediterranean, were well informed of events in the Aegean. They were aware of the burgeoning, spice-cultivating, and resource-rich Greek and Anatolian civilizations. For the inhabitants of the northern territories, the Proto-Polish, Lithuanian, and Finnish lands, the vibrant, prosperous life of the south, with its settled farms and burgeoning towns, must have seemed an enviable and superior way of life. The memory of Troy's fall, a victory for the ascending, agriculturally rooted cultures, would have resonated deeply, serving as a powerful narrative of their own inevitable triumph. In summary, this theory posits that the Polak and Lengile ethnonyms encapsulate the profound socio-economic and demographic shifts of the Neolithic Revolution. Driven by post-Ice Age warming and the colorful theory of agricultural adaptation, southern peoples, particularly those originating from the Caucasus and Anatolia, gradually became dominant in northern Europe. Their settled agricultural lifestyle led to unprecedented population growth, specialized labor, and advanced metalworking, giving them a decisive advantage over traditional hunter-gatherer societies. The Trojan War, within this framework, represents one of the earliest and most symbolic military successes of these expanding agricultural populations, making the memory of Troy a foundational narrative for the ascendant farmer-type peoples. The names Polak, field, plain, and Lengile, cleared land, thus serve as enduring linguistic testaments to the triumph of agriculture, a defining moment in European prehistory where the environment, genetics, and culture converged to reshape human identity. References: Hypothetical * genetic evidence, Lazaridis, I. et al., 2018. Paleolithic genomes reveal deep divisions in Eurasian prehistory. Nature, 531, 7593, 499–503. Specifically focusing on CHG admixture in Neolithic European populations. Archaeological evidence, Renfrew, c. 1987. Archaeology and Language, The Puzzle of Indo-European Origins. Cambridge University Press. General context on Neolithic spread. Linguistic etymology, Trubave, O.N., ed. 1974. Etymological Dictionary of Slavic Languages. For Pole and Leda Origins. Cultural Theory, Diamond, J. 1997. Guns, Germs, and Steel, The Fates of Human Societies. W. W. Norton and Company. For the Impact of Agriculture on Societal Development. Amber Trade Routes, Jim Butters, M. 1973. The Destruction of Old Europe. Archaeology, 26, 3, 196–203. For Ancient Trade Networks Connecting North and South Europe. Kalevala Interpretations, Kuyuzi, M. et al., 1977. Finnish Folk Poetry, Epic. University of Pennsylvania Press. For various interpretations of Kalevala narratives. Bolyán Anita, Research Center for Biohistory and Geohistory, Papers, academia.edu.